In 2004, a young entrepreneur named Brandon Davis from Elk City, Oklahoma, took a sales position at a small oil and gas company in Colorado. He had grown up around the oil and gas industry and was ready to make his mark in the business. He answered a want ad promising 99% failure, 1% success, six-figure income potential as a salesman for an energy exploration company. Within 3 months, Davis was the top salesman and survived a purge in which everyone from a 17-person staff was fired except him.
2005, I went from just a salesperson in the company to a manager of an office and had people working for me, developed a team, and things were going very well.
He became a vice president at Swan Energy at 25 years of age, but nearly went broke after a management split caused his departure from the company 4 years later. He formed Bedrock Energy, which nearly wiped out after starting with 3 dry wells in its first 6 months. But a run of 10 good wells led to stability. In 2010, Brandon was ready for a bigger undertaking.
I was meeting with different people that had been in the oil business and had opportunities to branch out and start my own company. And I met with Carl Swan and a guy named Harvey Bryant here with a company that I had invested a chunk of money in called Swan Energy. And Carl, I really liked. Carl's a neat guy, a lot of great qualities. He's not changed much over this 7-8 year period I've known him. I'm sure he was the same way before. And just did not like his partner. So I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to do business with him. I was getting up from the luncheon that I had with him and leaving, and Carl reached up, grabbed my hand, and said, "Thanks for coming down." He goes, "I really like one more go at this before I go out." And as things progressed, I did end up branching out and started a new company. Sold my old one, started a new one, and I had an opportunity to buy my old company back. Well, when I was doing that, I didn't want to use the name of my old company. I didn't want to use the name of my new company, since we're putting it together and forming something great, what I would consider larger and better. I called Carl and I asked Carl if he had any entities that were out there that I could buy from him, and wanted to buy his naming rights to be able to use that going forward, because I wanted to give him one more chance to shine before his day's end. And so that's how it got started. Carl is he's just an amazing person. I didn't want a partner, so he's not a partner. I didn't want that, but I wanted to take his name and do something great with it. And that's how we got to where we are with Swan Energy.
While at Heartland Development, Brandon met a young petroleum engineer named John Herring, who was just out of college. The two found they had a special chemistry. When his partner, Joe Kinlaw, suggested they needed to hire a petroleum engineer, Brandon moved forward.
I remember when he first came to talk to me, "We need to hire a petroleum engineer." I'm like, "Great, that's a good idea." I had no idea whether we needed a petroleum engineer or not. It's amazing how much I've learned since then. We interviewed a few people, and then you came in, and he really liked you, and I really liked you.
I'm glad you went and started working for Joe and started this all up, and I got to work with you a little bit at Heartland.
Then I sold it.
And then you sold it. And
I can only imagine what happened after I left there for a little bit.
Well, we did the same thing, just a lot slower. And you know, we drilled wells, and you went off and drilled some wells, and I really didn't know it was ever gonna, you know, you never see the picture going forward, but I didn't think we'd be sitting here today or working with each other. I'm glad we are. We're very like-minded, and we're both young and a lot of energy, and we're both vision people and can see, you know, what we want out of our future. And it's nice. It seems like we get a lot done too, so and have a lot of fun doing it.
At Swan Energy, Brandon and John have worked together to develop partnerships that would grow their business and provide opportunities for investing partners.
We know exactly what we're looking for. We want something safe, but can make money. Not that anything's that safe in the oil business,
right?
But we're picky, and it's real easy. I mean, how many deals we look at, how often do we say yes? Not very.
Not very often. Maybe 1 out of 20 deals that we see come through our desk get a yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with we've got some tried and true places that we know where to go make oil. One of the things I like is that we're still looking at all the deals all across the country. We're still open to looking at everything. We're highly selective, but we're at least seeing them all. You know, these places don't mature, and even a single oil well doesn't mature in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It takes 6 months before you really know what you have. And on these big deals, it takes 3-4 years of leasing and development and drilling and completions and all that data to really start getting your handle on what is this play going to be, how's it going to get developed, what are the key factors in it, and okay, now here's how we develop it over the next 10 years, 15 years. It's never go get the land and drill it all up and produce the oil. That's just not how the oil industry works. It's development, and it's constantly moving forward step by step in whatever plan you're trying to execute.
The association with mature oilmen such as Jodan Trigg, Carl Swan, and geologist Dave Murphy have contributed to the success of Swan Energy, providing them with experience and knowledge they would not have had the opportunity to acquire otherwise, which Brandon Davis considers a distinct advantage.
I think it is because it gives us a perspective of the oil business that's really not there anymore. Ideas that in a lot of cases have been forgotten.
You know, when you work with gentlemen like Jodan and Carl with so much experience, and we work with others, Larry Singh and David Murphy, I know there's a few times that I'll get a deal from a county, I don't even know where the county is.
Right.
I'll call Dave, ask him about it, I'll read in the legals, and he'll know about 2 wells that were drilled within 3 miles of there, what the geology is like, what the risks are, what to watch out for, when it was developed, how they were drilled, how much it's going to cost, how to complete them, and the whole 9 yards.
Today, Swan Energy continues its long-term commitment to the exploration and production of proven oil and gas fields, specializing in the acquisition and development of domestic oil and natural gas fields in petroleum-rich areas across the United States, such as Texas, Colorado, the North Dakota Bakkens, and Oklahoma's McLean County.
McLean County is a pretty special place in the oil field. It's been developed over the last 100 years. One of the highest success rates probably onshore U.S. as a county. Over 90% of the wells that have been drilled have been completed and found oil. And a lot of the other 10% that were deemed dry holes we're going back into because they weren't really dry holes. They might have been drilled in a time of low oil prices, and now we can go and make them economical. So it's a pretty tough thing to do to drill a dry hole in McLean County. From our perspective as an oil company, we go out and put leases together and put land together and drill wells and develop fields, and we're able to go out and drill good wells and HBP acreage, hold it by production that is, and add to our asset base. From an investor's point of view, they're coming into an area that's really safe. Like I said, it's really going to be hard for me to drill a dry hole, and we have the upside potential of drilling 5 to 10 to 20 to 1 type return on our investment wells. So from onshore U.S. perspective, this is one of the best plays I've ever been involved in, and quite frankly, one of the best plays that I've seen work from a vertical standpoint.
Now I'm going to show you an example of the cuttings we get and how we analyze them here from the rock that we're cutting up. First thing we're going to do is clean it. Initially, what you can see here are these big flakes of black shale. They break as much as they're cut when down to the bottom of the hole, and they come up in these big chunks. You can see how they break, and they're very brittle. It's a very brittle shale. The Springer shale, it's been drilled horizontally here, 6 miles to the east, and it's more of a horizontal producer than vertical, but it's certainly a hydrocarbon bearing shale. There's a little bit of sandstone, maybe a little bit of limestone in here, but for the most part, we're drilling through nice black shale. It's easy to drill, and it's a source rock where oil and gas is cooked, and then goes to reservoir rock. So that's what we're seeing right here, is drilling about 90% shale is what I call it, just looking at it in my hand.
The future of the oil and gas industry in the U.S. is bright, and Swan Energy is poised to be on the threshold of this exciting future.
As we step out and try to get into new areas, the one thing we have from McLean County we need to carry over is that safety factor. We can't really ever go away from that, because that's that's a key to what we've done and how we built our success and built overall production. And you know, we've had 12 straight months of production growth, and I don't see why with the wells we're drilling now we can't continue to grow production.
We drill in areas that are proven. On occasion we'll go out and take a shot, and I've been early in my career, I had some geologists bring me some big ideas that turned out to be big disappointments. And since then I've learned a lot. Now we go and drill in areas we know there's going to be production. We drill in safe areas. We're doing developmental drilling. Now, safe area, you can have a 5 barrel a day well next to a 300 barrel a day well, but it's better than a dry hole. Some would argue with that, but I personally would rather make some money versus none. So we do everything in our power from looking at prospects, where we're drilling, the way we put the partnerships together, and the pricing, coupled by our expedited funding compared to most companies in this industry, very, 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 very much helps mitigate the risk for the partners.
Swan Energy takes pride in being part of an industry that has created more than 9 million jobs and contributes more than 7% to the gross domestic product. Focusing on domestic oil production, Swan Energy plays an important role in the success of our American economy by participating in an industry that creates about 100 jobs for every well drilled. By continuing to focus on oil and gas exploration and production, Swan Energy is helping to reduce our dependency on foreign oil and is investing in our future by investing in America.